And suddenly her look becomes solemn, and she goes towards the carpet in the middle of the room, and then looks at you all, and goes, "This is your fault. You will fix it."
What?
And
What are you talking about? What fault?
she its existence. It's you were some of the ones who. She doesn't say it. She seems to cut herself off as she's getting overwhelmed, and she goes to the carpet and she rolls it back a bit, and there's a trap door on the floor, and she opens it, and you see a ladder that goes down. Do you guys follow?
She goes down first?
She gestures you all to go down and then to follow her, and then she goes down.
She goes down. If she goes down first, I will follow her.
I will follow.
Follow me.
All right. As you all go down, you're met with a room littered with loose papers, bookshelves. It's much smaller than the room you're previously in. And at the very end of the room, you see that book at the end that seems to have words scribbled throughout it. And in it, and almost as though someone's writing very hastily, but also multiple different handwriting, as though the book has been written in hundreds of times over by different generations, different people, or just almost someone in a different mindset. Though you can't quite make out what it says from where you are.
Can I attempt to read the book? Walk closer to it?
Yes.
Investigation check?
What languages do you speak?
Languages? I speak Common, Dwarfish, Elvish, and Halfling.
Alright. You are able to read some of it. And you're able to make out some of the more hastily written notes. Some of the newer notes. The older ones, you can't quite place the language it's written down in. But you notice some of it saying, though so far very few remain, though most have fled, it's very few remain, and those who do stay here are gone. She's left us because the world isn't, there's not enough for her to stay alive here. So she's gone. Our one beacon of hope is gone. It kind of goes on talking about how there's very little hope left and very little signs left of hope, and there's very few reasons as to why people are still fighting, why there's still settlements set up. Some are asking about what happened to Heritage or the people before who created this thing that is consistently referenced, although no name for it has been labeled for it. Although in some points where it changes from it, some things are written as the creature of the end. And Harmon, are you reading this?
Yes.
I'd like to make an investigation check on the book. Or no, perception. Sorry.
Oh, jeez. That was a good roll, too.
No, you can just change the modifier.
11.
You notice that there seems to be a small doodle of what looks like it could be the creature from your dreams, and some of the pages, and that's all you get from it.
Very interesting. So it seems that somebody is referencing a place or something, and it's saying that someone has left because there's no point anymore. That there's no point in her being here because of all the destruction or something. And then what this little scribble here on the side of one of the pages kind of sort of looks like this creature in my dream. Can I check and see if I know more about this thing?
Make a wisdom check.
Wisdom check. A 6.
We're just not getting it, are we?
Not even pain. Just nothing.
Good priestess, we are very, very confused. Perhaps you can tell us what you feel that we were a part of, because none of us have any memory of this creature or this place or this disaster that you say happened eons ago.
She just kind of looks at you and goes, clearly, by what happened earlier, I don't know if your minds can handle the full truth yet. And she kind of goes to the east. There's a desert. There's a bit of sand that leads to an ocean. Somewhere in the waters, you should find some hint or some clue as to what's there and what happened. As it stands, I don't believe me telling you you should be able to handle it.
Thank you for any help that you can give us in this, and we appreciate that perhaps the magnitude of this event is too great for us right now. I realize that it may be an inconvenience, but could we please rest here overnight, and then we'll continue on our way come morning?
Well, hang on. I have some questions because I zapped here out of nowhere and I have no idea where you are. Who is this priestess and can we even trust her?
Being that she's the only being we've come across, I don't think we have any other basis to judge trust on.
I don't even know her name. You guys keep calling her priestess. I mean, does she have a name?
Are you guys gonna ask her name?
How can you guys so blindly just trust somebody you don't even know a name for?
To be fair, none of us knew each other's names but 3 days ago.
This is true. So no introductions were made?
We did not have a moment to do so. We were quite rushed when we first encountered her. As the day was turning a what would seem to be an ominous shade of red, and
It did?
then suddenly, you suddenly appeared before us. Yes, it did. Obviously, my companion's senses are not quite as attuned as mine own, but I do feel like there was a dread aura, overcoming the land, and that's why I thought we sought shelter with this priestess. But to be fair, my good friend Harmon does make a good point, priestess. I myself am known as Woldoff. These are my companions, and I'll gesture to them to do their own introductions.
Yeah, because he couldn't remember his name if he tried.
I could, but I don't want to. I'll let you guys
I turn
participate.
towards the priestess and say, "My name's Harmon. What is your name?"
My name is Kiana. I am the priestess and guardian of the Shrine of Sulphur.
Shrine of what again? I'm sorry that this teleporting has done something to my hearing. I did not hear you.
Of Sulphira.
The Shrine of Selphira. Do I know of this shrine?
Make a wisdom check.
7.
Ugh.
We're making it really tough for you, aren't we?
You absolutely are.
I know, right?
Dude, switch your dice. Please. I want to supply you with lore, but I can't.
Well, how long have you been guarding this shrine?
I have been guarding it since my mother's passing, about 100 or so years.
Well, tell us more about the shrine.
There's not much to say on it anymore, sadly.
Why not?
She's kind of like looks at you like no one is here to ever pay respects or pay tribute to the goddess, so there's not much.
I turn to Waldorf and ask, is this the same goddess statue that we saw in the beginning in the water?
I'll take Harmon aside, just so he doesn't cause any more distress to the priestess with his insensitive comments, but and say, no, this does seem to be a different goddess, but the temple itself is much in ruin. It may be disturbing for her to for us to bring that to not to light, but we may be upsetting her by dwelling on this too long. Obviously, it is of some concern to her.
I can still hear you.
No, well, I did my best. This is Woldoff. He just assumes that I've been waiting for an opportunity to tell Harmon about Morden's a sad history, but I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet.
Well,
to
I
word
guess
him,
if
word him in a way that. Yeah, anyways, sorry, never mind.
if she's a guardian, she looks. I mean, she obviously sounds like she really cares about this position that she's been put in. So, um, I'm okay with her.
Mm.
You approve of her existence.
I mean, I
Here we go with
trust
the harsh
her. I
comments
trust her
again.
I trust her judgments of us, her hospitality.
I fear that we have little choice in the matter, but I do too believe the story that she has said, that there are too many unknowns for us to completely discount it, and the parts that do ring true do seem to fit together quite nicely.
Nicely, she blames us for the condition of the world.
And yet it does seem that perhaps we did have some part in it. All of us have had our memories removed, and in some cases it feels like they have been blocked. I do feel that whatever happened, we may have been a part of it.
I'm sure you are.
You are so angsty.
He's like the
I
grumpiest halfling ever.
it's just I'm just getting like teen angst vibes the entire time your character talks. And I don't mean that in like a rude way or anything, but like
He punched me twice in the face. I don't like him.
this might be better. I'm shocked you guys haven't asked about the red-armed lady that she
I
seemed
was
to be
I
just
familiar
am
with.
about
trying
to.
We were
get to
working
that.
towards that, yeah.
I know.
If someone would be
Harmon's
quiet for
distrust has
half a moment.
derailed the conversation.
I don't think he can.
Harmon brought me into the conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, continue on.
Priestess, speaking of information that we don't have, this red being that brought, Harmon to us, it had spoken to me earlier today, and it told me to listen to the goddess's book, that it would guide me. What can you tell us about this being, and is this book before us that book?
Not the entire book. The goddess's book is the original part of the original part of the book in which addresses Sulfira. And she kind of takes the book and flips to the part which you couldn't read and goes to the ending of that part you couldn't read to where you could begin. This is the goddess's book. Does anyone else want to take a crack at reading it?
I would, but Harmon speaks all the languages that I speak and a couple others, so
Yes.
I would not be able to read any more.
He speaks the same as I do. Priestess, could you read this to us? We do not understand it.
I see. Well, then perhaps. It's a language, honestly, I am not too familiar with, as it's not as practiced as much. However, I do believe that the guardian should be able to assist that. The god's guardian should be able to assist you with that.
Where might we find this guardian?
She kind of smiles at you. You already have. In fact, seemingly, it seems to have found interest in you as well.
Would we be able to seek them out? They seem to avoid us as much as possible, but at the same time, they do seem to be following us. Is there any method you know of that we might have a interact with them?
Have you tried properly talking to it?
I don't believe they've stayed still enough for us to have attempted that, but perhaps that should be our next step.
Is this the guardian in red that brought me here?
She kind of smiles and nods at you. You
I've-
spoke with it, correct?
I tried to, but it kind of just looked at me and didn't say anything. I asked for its hand and a handshake, and she reached out to me, and then I'm here. And then all of a sudden, she's melted away.
Well,
So no, I have not spoken to her.
Well, it would seem that with those few words addressed, that you managed to get some form of hope from her, seeing as you're here and not out there with what's going on currently.
How can we get into contact with this guardian?
Have you tried calling it?
I have not.
Would you know the guardian's name?
Its real name is not well known, as only the gods are aware of it. However, you may be able to either try calling out for the guardian, or perhaps looking in places of which you've already found them, as they normally appear when and guide those who it finds interest in when it's needed.
Well, it helped me, so by logic, it's taken interest in me. I am a bard. I am proficient in performances and music. Could the guardian possibly return at like a song that I play for her?
Potentially. Has it not interacted with any of you?
Not me.
We have had glimpses of the guardian and Pataris. Perhaps there was
spoke
more
to
to
me.
your story.
It spoke to me. It said to me what I've told you, and then it vanished. I had seen it very briefly one time previously.
I see. Well, there's no definitive way to summon it that is not usually the use of needing its help, or it feeling it's needed, or danger in some cases.
We could wait for Wolda to roll in that one again.
What is rolling in that one? I've never heard of that.
Sometimes this Morden, he does speak mysteriously. Perhaps he took a knock on the noggin at some point in the past, and it may have
In the
rattled
past
his.
few days, you mean?
Couple times. I sure felt in danger then.
Anyway, that conversation didn't happen. I get what you're meaning.
Good priestess. Perhaps then what you're suggesting is that this guardian will come to us when on its own time, and we may have better luck waiting for it to find us than for us to find it.
Correct.
Then in that case, I make another request that I do not know how you would react to it, but this book, as per my good companion Pataris's conversation with the Guardian, does seem to be very important. Might we take this book with us?
Of course. If the guardian has said you will need it, then I see no issue with allowing you to have it.
Thank you. We appreciate your trust in this manner. And Harmon, I think you're already. Oh no, she was reading the book. I will take the book from her and put it into my inventory.
As you say that, you thank her for her trust. She looks at you and goes, "I do not trust you. I trust the gods and their decisions."
I don't
And
trust
hands
him
you the
either.
book.
Okay.
I don't trust you either.
I wouldn't trust me either.
Your entire group, from what you've heard from you all, I do not trust you, but I'm willing to assist if the gods have deemed it necessary.